Welcome to Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa's Cities. Taking on a new job in city government isn't always easy. In any role, there's a lot to learn and a lot to do. Listen to what Iowa's leaders say was their biggest challenge when they took office. And we've got some good advice for anyone who's thinking about running for office or working for their city. That's coming up next. Then make sure you join Dubuque Mayor Brad Cavanagh and me, Dave Martin, for full episodes right here on Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa's Cities.
My name is Matthew Schmitz. I'm the city manager for the city of Independence, Iowa.
When you became a city manager and you got involved in city government in Independence, what surprised you the most?
The thing that surprised me the most, so I came from Kansas. So I was a transplant into Iowa thanks to Mark Jackson from Story City. He's the one who recruited me to Iowa. So I always give him that credit. Good or bad, He gets the credit. The thing that surprised me the most, I think, moving into Iowa was the amount of grants that we do here and the philanthropy that occurs within the city that I work for.
Explain that.
Working in Kansas, we didn't do a lot of stuff with grants. We would do grants now and then, but they were big, huge federal things. They were not like they're done here in Iowa. I mean, the state of Iowa does a lot of grants. There's a lot of different application opportunities out there, all those different things that go into that. But the philanthropy side of it also was, so I'll give you an example. We did a turf project for our softball fields that we have in town. We have 5 fields at the complex, and we wanted to turf all of them. It was about a $1.3 million job. So we had ARPA money that we were using for part of that, but we only had about $500,000 or so of it that was ARPA money. The rest of it was fundraised in about 2 months in our community.
That's impressive.
That's a huge amount of money to raise in 2 months. And it just completely, that happened within the first 6 months of me starting the position. And that just kind of blew my socks off, so to speak, because I looked at my experience coming from another state in Kansas, and that stuff just didn't happen there. So that's probably the thing that surprised me the most, is the philanthropic attitude and the real community feeling that exists that's much greater than the 2 cities that I've worked in before.
There's very few children out there who dream someday of being a city manager. Maybe a governor or a senator or president. Nobody thinks about, I want to be a city manager when I grow up.
I didn't either.
All right. What advice would you give someone about, the job, the role, and, jumping into working in a municipality or working as a city manager?
The thing I would say about that is, if you want the opportunity to really help shape a community and help guide a community as elected officials decide and try to kind of grapple with decisions that they have to make, difficult decisions that they have to make about how to spend money, and you want to be able to help shape that and help kind of guide their path, this is the type of job that allows you to do that. You think about all the other jobs that exist at a city, from street crews to police officers, so on and so forth. They're doing tasks that are absolutely important for the community, but they are not the strategic thinkers of the organization. They're not the ones looking at the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And that's what the city manager is doing. A lot of the things that we do is to help the community grow and develop into something that it's not today.
And as city manager, you serve at the pleasure of the mayor and the city council, but then you're also their boss as well. How does that work with a city? Sometimes a city mayor who has to answer to voters, and you have to be the guy that goes, yeah, can't really do it that way, Mr. Mayor.
It creates some situations where it's difficult conversations and hard things that have to be addressed. The one thing I would say to that, though, is I've been in Independence for 2.5 years, and I came into it with the mentality that I was going to be a partner with the council. We're not adversaries. We're not against each other. And we're definitely not going to try to fight, especially in public. I'm not going to do that. It's just not going to happen.
Okay.
So I've always approached everything I do as a partnership mentality, and that has helped us really, I think, work together really well. It still creates those situations, though, where you have, the mayor wants to go do something, and like, for instance, our mayor, great guy, love him to death. He's from the private world. He didn't, when he first started, kind of understand how government works. And him and I've had this conversation, so he knows that I've talked about it before.
Okay.
So no breaking news there. But he came from the private side. And so, in the private world, when you want to do something, you just go do it.
Right.
You don't have to worry about making sure the other council members are on board, or making sure that the funding is the way that it needs to be because of specific funding rules or any of that. It's always just your private side. If the money that you've got, it came from profit, you can do whatever you want with it. Well, government doesn't work that way at all. as we all know, those of us that are in this industry. And so that kind of created some of those situations of us having to work through that. And it's an education thing. One of the big things that I do when I have new council members come in is I spend a full day with them going through every single department in the entire city and how the financing works and what those departments are responsible for and all the different things that they do, to try to give them that understanding so that when they go into council meeting, they already have some heads up about, hey, this is how this stuff works, so that we don't have those public interactions where you have a council member saying, no, I want to do it this way, and the city manager's going, you can't do it that way.
All right.
So that we do that. We try to do that, try to head it off a little bit and do it in private rather than in public.
Would you tell somebody to become a city manager?
I would. It's a very rewarding career. If you want to really feel like you're helping your community and that you're an integral part of the community, this is a great job to create that feeling.
I'm Tim Kasparek, Mayor of Tiffin.
What's going on in Tiffin?
There for a lot of years, we were the fastest growing community in the state of Iowa. I know we're not quite the number one right now, but we are still rapidly growing and really excited to be doing so.
So we are recording this at the Iowa League of Cities. You're just wrapping up your first term, 2 years. What surprised you the most 2 years ago when you stepped into the role?
Probably that my agenda is important to anybody. I think I say that with the aspect of things are happening all the time that are completely out of your control. And probably anyone listening to this podcast understands that fully, that at the end of the day, we're there to serve the people, and what I think may be important may not be important to anybody else. And we're just doing the best that we can to give our citizens the best life that they can have.
So 2 years ago, what made you decide, yes, I want to be mayor?
So there is a really long story. I'll give you the short story. I remember when I moved to the community, attending a city council meeting, the incumbent mayor said a couple of things I just didn't resonate well with me. And I think in that moment, I said to myself, I think I may want that job someday.
What would you tell someone else who might want to either run for city council or oppose you or run for office?
Don't oppose me. That wouldn't be smart.
Run against you. Not oppose, run against. Or just, generally, run for office and get into government.
I would say do it for the right reasons. I think we were actually just talking on our way here that if more elected officials simply ran and were an elected official because they believed they wanted to simply do the best job that they could do for their constituents, then I don't mean to blow this out of proportion, but the country would be in a better place. If our elected officials were simply worried about doing what's best for their communities, it would be different. And I think as long as you can go to bed at night knowing that, hey, I did what I believe was in the best interest of my community, you're going to rest easy.
Good advice. Now that you've listened to Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities, make sure you listen to The Good Government Show, another show from Valley Park Productions. On The Good Government Show, I talk with mayors, commissioners, and leaders from across government about what works. We talk about what government means and how we can get the best out of government. So join me right here where you're listening now to The Good Government Show. That's our show. Thanks for listening. Join us again right here for the next episode of Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. Make sure you like us and share us with your friends. Follow us on Facebook. Leading Iowa is a Valley Park production in association with the Iowa League of Cities. The show is executive produced by Katie Wheeler and Brad Cavanagh for the Iowa League of Cities. Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder are executive producers for Valley Park Productions. Our show is edited and produced by Jason Stershic.